All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to be doing the practice and problem solving for our adding, subtracting rational numbers. I'm going to do all the odd ones. You'll do all the even ones. Well, here we got 3.2 minus negative 5.7. Well, like I said in class, whenever we have a negative combined with a negative, and that's what this is because of this parentheses, we're multiplying this negative to it. We have to pretend there's actually a 1 after this negative. So it's negative 1 times negative 5.7, and a negative times a negative makes a positive. So this is a term to 5.7. And now we take 3.2 plus 5.7. Well, if you want to stack it to make it more easier, 3.2 plus 5.7 is going to give you 8.9. All right, we're off and running to number 9 now. Number 9 says when Tom simplified the expression negative 2.6 plus negative 5.4, he got 2.8. What mistake did Tom make? Well, we got to remember that whenever we're combining two numbers, when the signs are the same, we add them, we don't subtract. And that's what it looks like Tom did. He took 5.4 and he subtracted 2.6 from it. Does everyone see that? And that's what gave him 2.8. What he should have realized is since 5.4 is negative, that he had to go ahead and combine these numbers. So he should have had negative 5.4 combining with negative 2.6, and he would have seen that should have gave him 8, right? Negative 8. Okay, so what did he do wrong? Well, let's see. I would say that Tom subtracted when he should have added. Tom subtracted when he should have added. You could also say that Tom forgot when you have two negative numbers, you add instead of subtract. That's probably a better answer. Tom forgot that when your signs are the same, you add the numbers and keep the sign. And we're just going to shrink this up a bit. Let's see, it was 18. We'll turn it to 14. And let's see, we'll probably take this and put it right there. Let's see. There we go. All right, let's go to number 11 now. Simplify each expression. Looks like I got some work to do here. I got 3 of them. Well, the first one is 50.1/2 plus negative 12.3. Well, remember we got to turn this into a decimal before we can combine it. And 1/2 we know is going to give us 0.5. So this is really 50.5 minus 12.3. And if we combine these, we see that we have 2, 8, to borrow 1, and that'd be 38.2. Remember, when the signs are different, we take the big number minus the small number and keep the sign of the bigger number. So our answer is 38.2. B, we have a negative 50.1/2 and a negative 12.3. Well, the signs are the same. So when the signs are the same, we add the numbers and keep the sign. So we're going to take 50.5. We're going to add it to 12.3. And since both the signs are negative, our answer is going to be negative. And that should give us 62.8. All right. Now we've got C, which is negative 50 and 1/2 plus 12.3. Again, the signs are different, so we take the big number, which is 50.5. We minus the small number from it, which is 12.3. And we keep the sign of the big number. The big number is 50.5, so we know it's going to be negative. And if we take this, we should get to 38.2. But it would be negative 38.2 because the bigger number is negative. All right, let's hop on down to number 13. A dolphin swimming 18 feet below the surface of the ocean. Let's just pretend this is the ocean. And he's way down here at 18 feet. There is a Coast Guard helicopter 75.5 feet above the surface of the water that is directly above the dolphin. So he's way up here at 75.5 feet. And they're saying, what is the distance between them? Well, now we have to cover that whole area between them. So we're going to have to add 18 to 75.5. Well, 75.5 plus 18 and that's 5. This would be our decimal. 3 will be carrying 1, but you make that 93.5. And we're talking feet, so let's put our unit of measure there. 93.5 feet. Let's see. That's it. That's the distance, 93.5 feet. We're off to number 15 now. A scuba diver instructor takes a group of students to a depth of 54.96 feet. Well, if this is the water, they're saying the scuba diver took them all the way down to 54.96 feet below the surface, right? Then they ascended 22.38 feet. Now, ascend means the opposite of descent, which means they went up. Now, they went up a distance of 22.38. They didn't go to a depth of 22.38. They went up in distance, right? They ascended 22.38. So what they want to know now is, where are the fish in relation to the surface? If the surface is here, they need to know how much that distance is from the surface to where they ascended to. To do this, we're going to take the place where they were, the depth they were at, which was 54.96, and we're going to subtract 22.38 from that. By doing that, that will tell us what the remainder is in between. Well, if we do this, we see we're going to have to borrow one over here. So that's going to turn this to an 8. This to a 16. That'll make this 8. If this is 8, that'll make this 5. Our decimal comes down. 4 minus 2 is 2, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So 32.58 below the surface. Below surface. All right, I'm on the last one, number 17 now. The root of the plant reaches down 3 3/4 inches below the ground. How many inches is the plant above the ground? Well, we know that the root is 3 3/4, and the whole plant is 12 1/2. So we've got to go ahead and subtract 3 3/4 from 12 1/2. We have the problem 12 1/2, and we need to subtract 3 3/4 from it. Well, we know that when we are combining fractions, our denominators have to be the same. So in this case, we're going to have to go ahead and turn that 2 and that 4 into common denominators. Well, I know that if I take 2 and multiply it to 2, it will equal 4. So I'm going to take this 1/2 and multiply the top and bottom by 2 over 2. Remember, when I do that, and I'm just going to work that down here, 1/2, if I multiply this by 2 over 2, and remember, 2 over 2 is just 1. I'm allowed to multiply any number by 1, and it comes up to itself. So this will actually equal 2 over 4. Okay? So we can turn this into 12 and 2 over 4 minus 3 and 3 over 4. We still have a little bit of an issue, though. We can't take 2 and minus 3 from it. So I'm going to have to borrow 1 from my whole number. If I borrow 1, this will turn to 11. And I have to remember that I'm borrowing one of the denominators. So I'm going to increase my numerator by 4. That's going to make this 11 and 6 over 4. And I'll be minusing still 3 and 3 over 4. And now I can take, let's see, 11 minus 3 now, and that's going to give me 8. And then, let's see, we're going to have 6 minus 3, which is 3, and the denominator stays the same, 4. And that's going to leave us 8 3/4 as our answer. And since we're talking inches, it'd be inches. Now, some of you are probably thinking, hey, Mr. Mendez, we learned to go ahead and take those fractions and turn them into improper fractions in order to do this. So if we were at the step right here where we had 12, and I'm just going to highlight this really quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. If we were at this step here, we could go ahead and do it differently by saying, okay, I'm going to take 4 times 12 and add 2 to it, all right? And then I'll take 4 times 3 and add 3 to it. And once I have my improper fractions, I can go ahead and do subtraction and then turn them back into proper fractions. So let's try that. First, we're going to have 4 times 12. That's going to make 48. Add more to it, 2 more to it. So 48, 49, 50. So this will end up being 50 over 4. And we're going to be subtracting 3 and 3/4. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then we add 3, so it's 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're minusing 15 over 4. Now when we do this, we have a whole new set of problems, right? Because 50 minus 15 will give us 35 over 4. And now we've got to turn this into a proper fraction, right? So we have to see how many times does 4 go into 35. Well, I know that 4 times 8 will give me 32, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, remember, the way we really do this, we would take 35, because every fraction is really a division problem, and divide it by 4. That would give us the 8, right? This would be 32. And that would give us 3 left over. All right? And notice now, that's where all our numbers come from. 8 is the number that we got, that it went into, so this would turn to 8. And then 3 would be our numerator, and 4 would remain our denominator. And look at that. We came up with the very same answer that we did doing it the other way. Well, that's all that I've got for tonight. The rest is yours, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.